Yo, yo, yo.
Come on.
There he is.
What up?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Doing all right. Little allergy issues, but all good.
You take anything for it?
Dude. I'm that guy. I'll just complain about it for a couple hours.
You know what'll help with that?
What's that?
You lick my butthole.
Got me.
Gotcha.
Got me. I'm all
Got
good.
him. Yes.
Walked right into it. Man.
Awesome. That was good. What a way to welcome everybody to this show.
Welcome.
Episode 6. We will recap week 6, everybody. As far as the league went, it was a really close games for all 4 of them, really. Only one of them, I think, was decided by more than 20 points. That was the Drake and Devin one. Or I'm sorry. Drake and Devin. All the other ones were really close. They were right there. Got to talk about the headline there. Can I get a stat correction?
Pop that screen up there. Let's take a look.
Yeah,
Dang.
that was wild, dude.
One
I was
away.
winning.
0.64 to 0.28. Gosh.
I was winning, and Jalen Hurts fumbled that snap, and he recovered it, and he lost 6 yards.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's the difference.
Yeah.
But
And then you know what would have been crazy.
How is that? You don't get negative fumble recovery yards. How is that a negative rush if it's counted as a fumble?
I think it's because he has the ball, so it's a fumble, and then maybe he lost 2 yards or whatever.
If a running back runs 70 yards and fumbles and they run it back, he doesn't get negative 70 yards.
It's true, but he lost that
I
yard.
guess you would probably it would be 0.
He lost 6 yards. You know what I mean?
Right. Like if I'm at the 30, I run the ball all the way to the other goal line, running 70 yards, fumble it at the goal line, they run it back all the way for a touchdown, 100 yards. I don't have negative 30. I just have 0.
No, but if you fumble the ball behind the line of scrimmage and you hop on it, is that like getting
That's a
tackled for a loss of 4 yards? Because that's how I figured it's a tackle for a loss.
I don't think so. There's no way.
I mean, I was winning the game, and then I wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, I just would assume, it's fumble recovery yards. Like if you were to move forward or backwards, so that would just be a fumble recovery. You don't lose yards for a fumble.
Yeah, but the fumble didn't really matter. It's like if he would have just got tackled for a 4-yard loss. You lose.
I know what you're saying. I just don't think it should be that way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I agree. I would have won.
Yeah, not just because of that, but I just don't think it should be.
Yeah, I'm sold. Let's change the rule. Let's do it retroactively.
When do final stat corrections come out?
I think they already did. I don't know. I would have guessed that it would have been like Tuesday, though. I know you can go and look. There was a stat correction on the Niners defense, but it was already fixed.
I don't know where that is.
Go to it's no, maybe players.
Yep, stat corrections.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Nothing yet. Dang. It's rough, man.
I know it sucks, but anyway, we'll go on.
Yeah.
Colts won. Broncos lost. Congratulations to you.
Hey, thanks. Sorry to you.
That's another brutal loss for Denver, man. I'm about tired of Hackett. I told Devin today. I was looking at the schedule. We should send them that link, by the way, to let them know we're live. I was talking to Devin, though. I was kind of looking at the Broncos schedule. They play the Jets and the Jags coming up. I think that we have a really good shot at winning both games, if not at least one of them. Maybe just as good of a chance of losing both games. And in the event that we lose both of those games, the Broncos do have a bye in Week 9. I say fire Hackett.
There's no reason not to. if
Yeah, get rid of him and call Sean Payton. You know what I mean? Like, just do it. You know what I mean? I mean, Sean Payton might say get bent for this year, but I'll maybe consider it next year. But there's no reason to keep hacking around. He doesn't even say the right things in the interviews and stuff. He literally said today about Melvin Gordon. He said he didn't do anything wrong. We just didn't have that many plays. What?
Yeah, some people can do it, man. Some can't. He's just not doing it. At least not for this team, right? I mean, he could go to another team and be great just because it's a better fit.
Yeah.
Same with any player, but yeah, it's not a good fit, clearly.
Eagles moved to 6-0. Josh Allen.
Good.
Yeah. Awesome. That hurdle was great.
Yeah.
It's nothing unexpected of him or anything, but that was fun to watch.
Yeah, that was.
We did have another trade alert at the end of last week between me and Devin. I was trying to make a move. I like Benjamin a lot, and I wanted to make a move to get him. But really, the main thing, I needed to get rid of 2 players. I wanted to pick up Devin Duvernay. That was totally intentional. I heard that Rashad Bateman was out, and Duvernay's been tied in targets with him. Like,
yeah.
And I read a thing that if Bateman did not play, they said that all of the other wide receivers other than Duvernay and Andrews had 2 targets the week before that.
Right.
So I felt really good about it with Mario starting Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, getting some of those points back.
Yeah, but it did not. It backfired completely.
Yep, it did. Cost you the game.
It did. Yep.
You're gonna get fired soon too, man.
I should. Both get fired after week 8. If we don't get a win, I'm giving the reins to my dog. I'm gonna do something where he's gonna decide a wide receiver by where he decides to walk that day, right or left.
Yeah,
Keenan Allen and Mike Evans.
You should do it. That's what happens when you have too many players. Like, I was looking around at some of the other teams, like, oh, they could have played this player, but that didn't really. I probably wouldn't have either. Like, they just have so many good players. Like, freaking Robert, man, not playing Amari Cooper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again.
We'll get to that one for sure. So yeah, that was pretty much all it was for the rundown. Let's talk about the winners though. On the week, to recap the Grilling Dad game of the week for week 6, that was the Goats versus the Florida Sunshines. Damon versus JR. Close game. It was 123 to 115.
Yeah. And the stars for JR, I mean, they're the top dogs, and you're gonna live and die by that with that team. So,
and we might as well just go through the bad beats as we're going through this as well, because, like I said, I mean, we definitely highlighted mine already and kind of talked about that as a bad beat. But I think a lot of people, every game was so close, and anybody could have done something a little bit different or had some bad luck somewhere. JR had -4 points from his defense.
Yeah, I did see that, and I almost said like he should have just sat him out, but
still would have lost. But
yeah,
would have been closer. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like you're really just looking to try to get what is it, 4 or 5 points out of a defense at that point.
Yeah. So then that's a big swing. I mean, that right there. I mean, getting -4. If they even get 5 points, right, he wins.
Mm-hmm.
Just from that swing.
Mario, Catalina Wine Mixon, feeding Wilson 108.6 to 108.2. We already kind of talked about it a little bit. It was brutal. I couldn't get out of my own way there. I thought Mario was going to have a down week, and he did, and I just couldn't capitalize. So,
what do you think you would? Never mind.
Go ahead.
What would you do differently?
What would I have done differently?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't regret anything that I did. I liked the move that I did. You know what I mean? But the only thing I just done differently is you just leave ETN in and leave Gabe Davis in how I had it. You know what I mean? Don't trade him. at all.
Okay.
But I don't, you know what I mean? I don't regret getting that trade either. I like, still, as long as James Conner's kind of going to go back and forth. But, and I got the dump Wilson. So, yeah, I mean, if it was done all over again, I would have done the exact same thing. I still would have lost. But
Yeah. Yep.
You beat Rob. Scary Pitts defeating Mommy Chasers 134 to 128. That was a good game too. It was fun to watch.
Yep. Top dogs, man. Top dogs in the league. Number one, number two this week. But I was gonna actually mention that. I almost mentioned Nick Chubb, but getting 8 points out of your, running back isn't a deal breaker, right? Like that's just like a solid week for an NFL running back. He just didn't have, this explosive week that he's had so far every week this season.
Yeah, he just didn't score 3 touchdowns like
he
normally does.
Yeah. Being down big, they had to throw the ball a lot. Kareem Hunt gets more involved,
and that one I had, you got it brought up right there, but I got to real quick. Sorry, guys. Because Robert had something. Oh yeah, I mean, if Robert, I wanted you to look at it because I didn't do the exact math, but if Robert had started Amari Cooper over DK, would he? Yeah, he would have won.
Yep, he would have. He would have beat me by 3 points.
Not necessarily a bad beat. You both scored pretty good games and everything, or had good games. And then the final game, Logan's mom defeated Olave Another 124 to 100. Drake getting another win that takes him to 5-1 on the season, still leading the pack as far as overall rankings go for the league. So
if you look back at our league history, it was like 2 or 3 years ago. Drake started like 6-0 and then finished last or second to last in the league.
He brought that up not that long ago.
So he might be 5-1 now, but
just wanted to throw that in there.
Throwing that in there just in case, Saquon and Christian McCaffrey go down the same week. Who knows what will happen?
Yeah. That's funny.
I do not wish that, man. They're both super fun to watch.
Yeah, they're some of the funnest to watch actually in the league. Bad beats, we kind of already talked about it. Everybody really had a close game, and somebody, anything could have went differently for anybody. Very low scoring week though, as far as that goes. In an 8-man league, the high score was 134.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. I did hear. What was that?
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, usually somebody's 150 plus.
Yeah. I did hear this on Fantasy Footballers the other day that this season compared to last season, there's 110 less touchdowns.
Wow.
At this point, yeah.
Right, at this point in the season. I'm
pretty sure I heard that correctly too.
Yeah, that's a huge number. I wonder if the law of averages says it will balance itself out and at least get close, but
yeah,
it's a really big gap to fill.
Yep. AJ Plug and Play of the Week, sponsored again by your own Florida Sunshine's JR. If you need anything in the Morgan County area as far as electrical work goes, give him a call. He'll hook you up. I decided to choose Daniel Jones for the start of the week, 13.52 points. There wasn't really that many people that had any starts that were that outrageous or anything. But Drake picked up Daniel Jones and started him. And I think it was a decent pickup. Daniel Jones hasn't gone under 10 yet. So as far as just like good solid starts go, that was kind of the best one that I could find.
Yep. I saw like a couple like last minute kind of switches, but nothing really big. As far as that, I think that's a great call out. Drake's making moves, man.
Yeah. Paying attention. It changes whenever you pay attention to the league.
Yep.
Worst starts.
Amari Cooper.
Definitely the Devin Duvernay. That one it backfired on me. Like I said, I would have done it again. It would, it is what it is. But yeah, still it's bad. It ended up being bad. But the other one was Robert with not starting Amari Cooper. I kind of wish that you wouldn't have said anything to him because I play him this week and now he's starting him.
That's rough.
I tried trading Gabe Davis for him, and I don't know if Robert got the notification or what. But
yeah, I mean, if he doesn't like him enough to play him, then trade him.
That's what I was like, hey man, I'm not playing Gabe Davis, and you're not playing Amari Cooper, so let's trade him.
Yeah, do something different.
Yeah, because I'll start Amari Cooper.
Gabe Davis, my gosh, man, I used to think, just going back to that start, like in my mind, if you're playing roulette and it hits red 6 times in a row, it's bound to hit black this time, right? Like it's going to cool off, and it just doesn't sometimes, man. And that's how Gabe Davis is. Like I thought having that monster game, he was going to fall off.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, he just didn't. And it's not like he had this other like monster game again, but man, he's starting to have some consistency to him.
They take those shots. They're going to take those shots.
They're going to take them every game.
So yeah, it's worth it. I think he only had 3 catches again, but it's 16 points. So
yep.
Power rankings.
Really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will say, like, starting DK Metcalf in what should have been and was projected to be the highest scoring game that week makes sense. But Bob, we tell you every week, man, you got to start Amari Cooper. We want to see those group texts again that say Coop.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yeah,
Needs to be his new name this week. I think he dropped Zach Wilson, so he can't be mommy chasers anymore. Power rankings. I'll go ahead and go through mine. I've got Damon at 1 still, so the GOAT's at 1, Logan's mom at 2, Scary Pitts at 3, Catalina Wine Mixon at 4. At 5, I've got Alave Another. At 7, I've got Florida Sunshines, Mommy Chasers. Or no, I'm sorry, Florida Sunshines at 6, Mommy Chasers at 7, and Wilson at 8.
And you have yourself a lot further down than I do.
I'm not giving myself any credit. I can't give myself any credit.
I'm just looking like at the actual teams, the points.
I know my team is good. I've got a lot of points. I just can't give myself credit after I literally lost that game for myself this week.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I've got Drake at 1, right? I've got Mario at 2, Damon at 3, JR at 4, me at 5, you at 6, Devin at 7, and Robert at 8. The only reason Devin is so low in mine is because every player he has is going to get hurt this season.
Yeah?
Yeah, and it can happen like back-to-back weeks and really fudge him up. I mean, Kamara's already missed games.
He does have pretty bad luck with that.
He's got 2 great quarterbacks that he needs to trade, one of them to me. And outside of that, man, I mean, everyone else just has injury susceptibility, and it's just a scary team to say that. Granted, like, he scores a lot of points. He's got firepower when they all hit. Just, when you got those 2 quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Justin Jefferson on the same team, it's tough. But, I mean, and Kamara, right? But I'm just still scared of Kamara's injury risk, and that's the only reason he's so low. I think if the team's healthy, it's a great freaking team, like top 4. But, yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't think I'm doing my power rankings right, but I don't care. That's how I see the teams right now.
Hey, that's why it's our show. We get to do them however we want. And I don't have any questions. I think really anybody, like anywhere through that like 3 through like 6 area, you can really jumble them all up and put them wherever you want.
Yeah, you really
kind of you can make a case for anybody. I do think that Damon and Drake are the top 2 teams. I don't think Mario's team is there. I mean, really? he is winning. He's 5-1, right? But his points for don't match his record, if that makes any sense. Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
He's won 2 games this year where he scored 108 points. So
if you look at the points against Bro, look how good his defense is.
Yeah, he's got a solid defense.
Almost 900 points scored against you, and he's still at 650.
I want to mention Mario was the first to choose a defense in the draft this year. So maybe there's something to that.
I think there may be.
I think it's a direct correlation.
All right, here's what I think. New rule. The math would work out the same, but a defense, instead of scoring points, it takes points away from your opponent.
I mean,
The math would be the
exact
exact
like the same thing, though. Like
it's exactly the same. I just think it would look cooler. Like, I've got a really good defense.
Yeah, so like your team didn't, like Jalen Hurts didn't score 20 this week. He scored 12. Like,
Right.
That's funny.
I held Jalen Hurts to 12 points.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. You know what? One thing I kind of think would be cool.
What's up?
It'd be kind of hard, but if it kind of only be like for a dynasty league, but like if you're watching the game, okay, say you're watching a game on Sunday, it's the game just started, right? It's the first quarter, and let's use Jonathan Taylor for an example. Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. Let's say that those two are both playing, and you've got both of them on your team. Nyheim Hines is on your bench. Jonathan Taylor is starting for you, and Jonathan Taylor goes down in the first quarter, but you have Nyheim Hines on your bench, and like basically there's this like rule where if you've got his backup, you can slide his backup in now, but you only get the points from after you made that switch. Like you're gonna delete those Jonathan Taylor points that you got before. You're only gonna get now the points that you get from Nyheim Hines from here on out.
So basically, one in-game handcuff swap.
Got to be from the same team.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, has to be on the same team.
Yeah,
so if it's receiver, it's got to be Chase Claypool or Deontay Johnson. Like, and yeah, in game. So like, if you catch it as soon as it happens, yeah, you can do it right away. But like, if you catch it in the third quarter and Jonathan Taylor had already had a touchdown and Nyheim Hines hasn't done anything, maybe you just don't touch it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, makes sense. That made me think of a really crazy idea if you want to hear it.
Yeah. I mean, that was pretty crazy. I thought that was pretty off the wall, but
I think that's doable, and I think it's badass. It should be a thing for sure.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
But think of like DraftKings, and there was that one, I don't remember what it's called, but like flash bets, right? So you can bet like during the game.
Yeah.
The next one is going to be a run play. But what if you could watch all the games at the same time, right? There's those guys who are obsessed and they're betting on every game and they're watching, all the games that are playing at the same time. What if you literally could switch who your starters are based on who's playing at that very second? And so if they get points on that play, you get points. But you can't switch until after they've run their next play.
Yeah.
So you'd basically be nonstop switching in and out.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. I think it'd be more fun, but yours is definitely way more realistic and should be a thing.
Yeah, I think it would be cool.
In-game handcuff swap.
Yeah.
Ending.
All right. Waiver ads and notable injuries for this week. The only really notable injury for fantasy-wise was Marquise Brown going down with that foot injury that he had.
Yep, and then going with that trade, that's not good signs.
No, I think he's going to miss. I don't know exactly what they ended up landing on, but they said a few weeks, like 4 to 6 weeks, I think, or something like that. Drake definitely. I haven't taken a look at his team yet to see what he can do because Marquise Brown was a top guy for him. We'll get to that a little bit right after this segment too, in the who's who. But Marquise Brown's been a top guy for him, and all of a sudden he's missing him. I think personally Drake should make a deal for DeAndre Hopkins with Damon.
Go get him.
Yeah. Like go. You're gonna have to get rid of somebody, obviously.
Yep.
But if I was Drake, I'd go. That's the other dude.
That's the move he's got to make.
Mm-hmm.
Got to make it.
Or if you don't want to give up somebody that high ranking or something, come to me and get Rondale Moore for something cheaper. You know what I mean? Than what you're going to probably get Hopkins for.
Yep.
The only other really big injury was Kenny Pickett. It's a concussion. Nobody has him in fantasy, so it doesn't really affect the league too much. But he does have a concussion. Trubisky came in and played well.
He did, man. He looked really good. The whole team just played with a different energy when he came in. But they did that same thing when Pickett came in at halftime the other day, when he made like his first, entrance. The whole team just felt energized, and then it happened again when Trubisky came in. So I don't know. The team clearly is not motivated enough to play without something big happening.
Yeah. Waiver ads, as far as those go, there was a lot of action this week. A lot of people have buys, coming up. So we're going to see a lot more activity, I think, as far as that goes. Did you see anything that was notable?
Nothing that was like super like big. I liked the Damon picking up Robert Tonyan. And then that
definitely got Melvin Gordon.
Yeah. That's like the only one I felt like was like a really big move.
I thought that Damon picking up the Patriots defense was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, Garrett Wilson, nobody's going to pick him up, I don't think. Not in an 8-man league.
Right.
And the Patriots defense is a top 5 defense to replace the Bills with for his bye, so he didn't have to drop his defense. I knew it, dude. I looked on like Tuesday morning, just looking at everybody's stuff, like who's going to have to drop shit, and I saw the Bills were on a bye, and I was like, Damon will not drop them. I know. Damon used to hold on to his kickers.
Yeah. I had a similar play too. Yeah, that's a good call. That is a really good pick for his team, so he doesn't have to drop Buffalo.
Yeah, it was smart. I thought it was really smart.
Yeah,
I was just curious on what he was going to do. I was trying to pay attention. Like, well, then who's he going to drop? I want to see who he drops. But Garrett Wilson, I figured that was going to be the guy that was dropped.
Yeah. Are we going to talk free agencies at all? Guys to pick up? Is that next?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, cool. I didn't know if that was the next segment there or not, but I didn't know this, but right before we got on here, you picked up Alec Pierce. A little bit before that, I grabbed Deion Jackson instead of Khalil Herbert. And I saw that like Mario grabbed Nyheim Hines. Like I don't know why he did that.
So Deion Jackson he
ruled out a game. He was limited.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Taylor was limited as well, and Nyheim Hines played in full. But if JT or Deion Jackson plays, Nyheim Hines just isn't going to get the numbers.
Right. But
I think one of those guys will play. I don't think that both of them sit.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say Mario even starts him?
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I get that.
I did see that he made that pickup though. I kind of figured it was just going off of JT and Jackson are probably going to be out.
I'm sure that's why he did
just in case. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you've got guaranteed volume if that's the case. Except he'd probably still split it with Philip Lindsay, but it was on my people to pick up like available guys was Alec Pierce. Like it's like 3 or 4 games in a row he's had over 10 fantasy points.
Yeah.
Just quietly doing it.
Just had to grab. Yeah, I had to grab him, and like I added Josh Reynolds to get him back. I kind of did that little sneak play on the bye week for him, but then he showed up with a knee injury at practice today. Didn't even practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already got Lions players. I don't have time for that. I like Alec Pierce. I'll just get him on my squad and see what happens.
Yep.
Not really notable, but I think it's cool to have him. Drake did get Chase Claypool, so maybe that's his fix for Marquise Brown.
Could be. I mean, he had a monster game.
He did.
He finally looked good, but I mean, he was getting targeted early and late. I mean, both quarterbacks finally saw that he was on their team, and he's a giant man amongst boys when he's out there on the field. So good pick. I just hope they go back to Deontay Johnson the way they were early in the season.
Are you as surprised with the Odell Beckham pickup as I was?
Yeah, it was confusing, and then Damon also just sent that text to the group of a fake Twitter account saying he signed with somebody? So Damon probably saw that. He did, guys. If you're tuning in, Damon sent a text that Odell Beckham got signed he signed with Minnesota Vikings, and it's a obvious fake Twitter account. And that was at 11 p.m. on the 18th.
Congratulations, Devin.
And then on the 19th at 3 a.m., so he woke up. Damon woke up with the baby probably in the middle of the night, saw that alert on Twitter, went and picked him up.
Oh, my goodness.
Good job, Damon.
No, we can't.
I almost picked it.
Damon, we cannot confirm that. That's funny.
I almost picked up Dobbins today, but
Yeah.
I don't want any running back ever going to play in Baltimore until they fix their fields. They can't keep anybody healthy.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Kenyon Drake had a decent game. Oh, I squeaked right there. Kenyon Drake had a decent game. I don't think he keeps doing that all the time, but
yeah. No, I mean, and I actually really like him too. When he moved from, went from Miami to Oakland, he looked so good when he got to play and when Josh Jacobs was out. And I mean, we've kind of seen it this year why they keep forcing the ball to Josh Jacobs. Like, he's going to make some plays if you give him the ball enough. But it was discouraging when, Kenyon Drake was there and playing so well, and then all of a sudden Josh Jacobs comes back and Kenyon Drake's back to the bench. But
yeah.
So I'm just happy to see him doing well. I think he deserves a shot. I'd give him a shot on my team.
Do what?
There's enough bye weeks. I'd give him a shot on my team.
Talking about JK? Or Kenyon Drake?
Kenyon Drake.
Oh.
If I was running a real team, not a fantasy team.
I wouldn't give him a shot on my team because I'm not good at fantasy football. So I would have a choice between him and somebody else, and I would choose somebody else that scored 1 point. Who's who? Top fives and positions. New segment from last week. Quarterbacks, not too much of a change. You still got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Pat Mahomes up in the top 4, but there is a newcomer into the top 5 in Joe Burrow. He had a good game, 32 points, I think.
Yeah, he scored a bunch this week, and a lot of that was from rushing touchdown too. It's always nice when you get those.
Definitely.
From the quarterback. Actually, I got a couple of them from both my quarterbacks.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence did have a couple. He had a really good game. Anytime you can get 25 points, I think he scored 24 or whatever. You can get that out of Trevor Lawrence, your team's in real good shape.
Yep. I mean, he's in QB1 territory right now. Low end, but still there. And I'd take him above Kirk Cousins, Wentz, Mariota, Goff. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's not the best quarterback situation on my team, but I'm not mad about it right now.
It's not mad if Lawrence is going to put up 25.
Yeah, for sure. I'll take that all day.
And you got a top 5 guy right now too, and Burrow. Running backs, Austin Eckler still at number 1. He had a big game. Saquon Barkley made the jump on Nick Chubb, moving from 3 to 2. Christian McCaffrey, I think he was at 4 last week. I can't quite remember if he was at 4 or 5, but I do know that Leonard Fournette is a newcomer to the Who's Who at 5. He's had 2 big back-to-back weeks.
Are you going total fantasy points or average?
Just the total points. So go to the rankings, total points.
Fantasy points, yeah. I got you. Yeah, Fournette's there at 5.
Yeah, I do. Remember, we do that, and then we just list their. We do the full rank, and then we just list their points.
Yep.
So
yeah, I mean, nothing. I don't think there's anything surprising there.
Not really. No, I think that the most surprising thing is you got Breece Hall at 6.
Yeah, for sure. Another great pickup by you. I think the only things maybe surprising, like looking at this top 5, if you're looking at it preseason, is not seeing Jonathan Taylor or Dalvin Cook or Derrick Henry right there, which I know they're close by, those guys.
Advised. Yeah, and I wanted to mention that too. We're going to see a lot of movement in these who's who because of buys. Mainly, that's why Josh Jacobs lost his spot in the top 5. The Raiders were on a buy, so he dropped down. He did drop down a couple of spots. I think he was at 5, and now he's at 7. So
yeah, something good.
Wide receivers, Stephon Diggs did jump Cooper Kupp, so he took the first overall position. Tyreek Hill getting 3. JJ going back to 4, and the Marquise Brown, he actually slid into the top 5 this week, and then he got hurt. So that's sad. He's been really fun to watch, and I think that he was going to be even more fun to watch when DeAndre came back, because he was, you know what I mean? He would have had a little less pressure on him.
Yep.
DeAndre's going to suck up a lot of defense. So, I think that he could have probably stayed in the top 5 just about the rest of the year, honestly.
Yeah, he would have been right around there for sure.
Would have been able to float around.
Yeah. Another thing to point out, too, at 2, 3, and 6, you got JR sucking up all the points.
Always.
And Chase. So, lethal combo. Lethal combo.
Just eats the wide receivers, dude.
Yeah.
Tight ends, nothing special. You got Travis Kelce. You got Mark Andrews.
And everyone else.
19 points per game, yeah. And then you got Zach Ertz at 13 points per game. So, Goddard, he's up there, and Hawkinson obviously moving back to 5 after the bye week. So that bumped him back a little bit as far as the overall stuff goes. But I think Goddard was in the top 5 last week, wasn't he?
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he was, because we'd mentioned him too. So, yeah, that's the who's who.
Yeah, 'cause you said that they had to get split up because they were too good.
Yeah, yep, that's right. I do remember that. So knowing who the who's who is, we're going to go into the DFS stuff. Keep that stuff in mind, guys, in case we ever say something like, we're going to go chalk here. That typically means we're going top 5 in a position. We're gonna grab one of those guys that we just mentioned in the who's who. So,
one of the guys everyone knows that he's gonna have a good game. You can just chalk it up for a good game.
Yep. As far as that goes, I got a couple of quarterbacks listed, and only a couple. I like Justin Herbert this week against Seattle. I just like pretty much any quarterback that's playing Seattle. Kyler Murray didn't do very well, but I think that's more so just the Cardinals' offense is flat right now. But I like Justin Herbert this week. He's only $7,200, so you can save a little bit of money. And then a good value pick, I like Matt Ryan against the Titans. The Titans have had a pretty shoddy defensive backfield, so that could be a decent value pick for $5,400.
Yeah. It's hard to argue, saying I would rather have, but $100 less is Jacoby Brissett. Doesn't score a ton of fantasy points every game. They're playing Baltimore, who can't stop anybody right now. So it's always worth a gamble if you're trying to differentiate.
And you said he's $5,300. Is he $100 less than Matt Ryan?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna note that one down.
I think I'd rather have Matt Ryan though. With the running back situation in question, they might not want to lean on that as much and lean on his arm.
Yeah.
Why not? Let him throw the ball 50 times a game, get into a rhythm, figure out a groove, and you're not, he's not going to be on the team next year.
Right. Yeah. There's going to be they're going to get that. I like that little GIF or tweet or whatever you guys sent it. I forget what the exact name of quarterbacks. It's just a list of old quarterbacks for 1 year.
Yep.
Like we're going to get Matt Stafford in 2026 or whatever, or 2027. Yep. Running backs, I like Josh Jacobs versus Houston this week. It's $6,500 for Josh Jacobs.
That's a steal, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that and he didn't move because they had a bye, so it's like maybe some people forget about him too as far as the owner rate goes. or have a percentage of team owned on, whatever it is. But I like him. He's really the only running back that I wrote down. I didn't even look at any others. Dameon Pierce is still fairly cheap again, coming off of a bye. He's probably about $6,500, and they do play each other.
Yeah, he's 6,400.
Okay.
Yep. I think that would be a good one. And I don't usually like spinning up here, but I really like Eckler this week, and not so much just because he's playing against Seattle's D, but also because like the Chargers have such a good defensive line, and this Seattle has no offensive line. They just don't believe in building one. They don't even put the players out there. They just have a center that can snap the ball, and then Geno Smith has to make a play. The other 4 linemen, they just don't even get on the field anymore.
Yeah.
That's how bad they are. But because of that, I think that the Chargers are going to have to run the ball more to run more clock because they're going to be winning by 40 at halftime.
Yeah, I also like Austin Eckler. I think that he's a good chalk play for this week.
Yep.
Wide receivers, I do like CeeDee Lamb this week.
Against Detroit.
Yeah, against Detroit. Detroit, I mean, I texted you a couple weeks ago. Detroit's an over monster, so that's another thing. If anybody wants to peep the over-under on that game, I have it. It's 48.5. It is one of the highest over-unders on the week. It's actually tied for second for the highest over-under listed for the week. And the Lions have been killing all of their overs, and it's not just because of them. It's because of the other team too. So why not grab CeeDee Lamb for $6,800 and he's your wide receiver 1?
Right. I like that.
I also like Brandon Cooks for $6,000 playing the Raiders. The Raiders are 30th in pass defense. And we all know kind of how Brandon Cooks works. He's going to have big games kind of sprinkled in. I think this will be one of them against the Raiders.
Yeah, right by him, same price, $6,000. I like Brandon Ayuk. He's been getting so many targets with Jimmy G back. He is a touchdown monster.
Yep.
So I like him there. And then another guy that's just a little bit cheaper. Where'd he go?
Real quick. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Like Tyler Lockett for the same reason. Because I think the Chargers are going to be up a lot early. Geno's going to have to throw the ball, and he's been really accurate this year. And, Lockett was getting some hate, like, with the media just because he's been, like, up and down, right? But he hasn't really been. He just had 2 games that were kind of down. The rest have been pretty good, pretty stable. So we'll see. I think that I think he's a good play, but who knows?
About Brandon Ayuk, as far as that goes, I want to point out that last week, that Falcons game, they ended up having a completely different game script than what they could have came in with that. They ended up needing to throw the ball. They were down the majority of the game. They are playing Kansas City this week. They're probably going to be losing the majority of the game again. So Ayuk could be a very good start. Yeah. The other one I like too is Alec Pierce. He's 4,600. If you're going to go with that Matt Ryan against that defense in Tennessee and the kind of low ranking DBs,
yep,
you could always pair those 2 up
for sure. We're going tight end next.
I like Granson this week, man.
Do you?
I do. Yeah, I like Granson, or I like Mo Alley Cox if you're not going to do some sort of chalk play.
Yeah. So, I mean, he had some targets this last game. They're going to be throwing the ball. Granson, that is. It's just tough. He was limited today too. Who knows? They're getting halfway through the season. Maybe they're giving some guys some breaks. But
I did not know he was limited today.
Yeah, I just hate anybody that's injured. I think for me, I'm going Robert Tonyan, right?
Okay.
He's 4,100, so he's not like too expensive, and he's getting targets, man. He's becoming that. Oh my gosh, who was it? Like Jimmy Graham was to Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't really had that in a while. I think he's finding that with Tonyan.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he can get in the end zone, which he can. Tonyan's a good play, especially if he's 4,000.
Yep.
I find that to be. I mean, it's not Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews type of numbers that you're paying for, but
Right.
yeah, I mean that's still a good deal. $4,000. What's Hawkinson now?
Let's check. 48.
Okay. Other games, the big over/under games. If you guys want to try to hit those, Seattle versus LA is 51.5. That's the highest over/under. I wouldn't mind. I didn't even think about this, but maybe Kenneth Walker at running back.
Yep.
For that game, he's probably pretty cheap. The other game, Kansas City versus San Francisco, is 48.5. Brandon Ayuk would be great if you want to go a chalk play with Travis Kelce or Pat Mahomes. Like we've kind of said before with the Kansas City team, it's hard to find one of those guys. Juju did have a good game last week due to a long touchdown, but it's hard to pick who's going to get that long touchdown each week for Kansas City. So I think maybe stack those San Francisco guys. Not stack them, but go with one of those. Get Ayuk, or pay a little bit more and get Debo. Maybe even Kittle. Kittle had a good game last week too. And then the Lions-Cowboys game, 48.5. I think you could choose pretty much anybody from either team, and you're going to have a decent chance there for a good floor.
And then who at defense, man? What are the low-scoring games?
Low-scoring games, we got the Jets and the Broncos. That's the lowest scoring game at 38.5. I'm assuming the Broncos, I usually don't pay that much attention to the top, but I'm assuming that the Broncos are kind of expensive. The Jets might not be. And that, I mean, why would you not start somebody against the Broncos offense right now?
Right. Yeah, there's a big difference in price right there. Broncos are 3,300. I mean, they're like number 6 highest, and the Jets are down at 2,600.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Jets might be the play there. And then the other one, you got the Bucks and Panthers at 40.5 for the over/under. Bucks, again, that's probably kind of like the Jets Broncos situation. The Bucks, you're going to spend up a little bit, where the Panthers you can spend down. And again, it's another thing where why not start somebody against the Bucks? They're not scoring that much.
And I mean, the Panthers are playing decent defense, honestly. I mean, their fantasy points per game, all the way back to week 1 is 1.4.16, 9, 5, 9. Like they're doing all right. So, and they're even cheaper. They're 2,200. They're the second cheapest in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you do that, what that actually lets your lineup be, if we went with Panthers D, is lets you put that Kenneth Walker pick at flex.
Okay.
With the other guys here. So Matt Ryan, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, Brandon Ayuk, CeeDee Lamb, Alec Pierce, Robert Tonyan, Kenneth Walker, and the Panthers D.
I like that lineup.
I like that a lot. Like, you've got so much ceiling and a pretty solid floor with your core.
Yeah.
Because
I like that a lot.
Like running back situation in Indy, who knows who's going to play, if they're going to be limited. So Matt Ryan's going to throw the ball. Alec Pierce is cheap, and he throws the ball to him too. I mean, we've got probably the best DFS running back duo we'll ever play in the same game with Eckler and Josh Jacobs.
Yep.
I got CeeDee Lamb against Detroit, Ayuk against Kansas City, Robert Tonyan finding his groove, Kenneth Walker in the highest scoring game of the week, and the Panthers. That's a little bit of a risk there, but they're not scoring the ball.
No risk it, no biscuit.
No risk it, no biscuit.
I like that. I'm gonna run that same lineup too.
All right, I just locked it in there for us.
Send that to me.
How'd you do last week? Did you?
You know what? I didn't. I need to look. I don't know why I didn't. I was so wrapped up in how I lost Mario, dude. I didn't even look at my phone as far as fantasy went for a long time.
Yeah, I was actually in the negative. It cost me $3 to play this week, but I did a tournament and a double up, and I won in the double up, lost in the tournament. So ended up losing $3, but I really like that strategy of throwing these lineups into a double up and the other.
Yeah, I did lose my double up. I didn't bet that much. I bet $3 again this week, but I lost $3, and then I entered another free tournament.
Nice.
No money's won, but decent lineups. Just didn't, just lost. Just one of those things. But I definitely like to double up. I think that gave me my best chance to win some money, and I'll probably just start betting like $5 or $10 a week on double ups.
Yeah, like
and enter like one cheap tournament or something. Like.
Yeah, and this is kind of, you don't want to go stars and scrubs sometimes, and it kind of seems like that near the end here. But like you expect, and this is the lineup I played that scored the most. When I tell you the top 4 players and their scores, it's like, how the hell did you not win more money?
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs with 30 points, Breece Hall with 23, Deion Jackson with 28, and only 5% owned.
Yep.
Stephon Diggs with 33. But then, Chris Godwin had 15.5. I guess that's all right. Like, it's a good score, but not great for a fantasy tournament. Then
Nope.
Tyler Lockett with 3, Isaiah McKenzie with 3, Zach Gentry with 1.5, and the Bengals against New Orleans with 1 point. So that's there was a little bit of risk there for sure, going with a couple of those guys, and it did not pay off that week. I mean, I guess only negative $3, but
yeah,
it just sucks when you have multiple lineups and you're like, well, I could have swapped that guy with that guy, and
you need that. You need that. Well, it's not like that handcuff rule that we're talking about, but you need something like that. Some in DFS too would be like, hey, my guy just went out. Can I switch it? Like this seems this sucks.
yeah. What would be really cool too is, like, let's say I play New Orleans running game. That's my play at running back, New Orleans. However many yards and touchdowns New Orleans gets as a team.
Yeah.
I think that would, for beginners who are just getting into it, I think that would really get those guys into fantasy football who haven't played it and they're intimidated by picking the wrong players.
Yeah, just pick the team wide receivers or whatever. Like, I want the Bengals wide receivers. I want the Saints running backs. Give me all the Colts quarterbacks, whatever.
Draft it that way. Have like a 4-man league, a couple of your buddies, right?
Yeah. That's a really good way to learn for anybody that's trying to get into it.
Yep.
We'll get into the predictions. I'm sorry, not the predictions. We're going to the pick 2. My bad. The pick 2 for this week. The pick 2 from last week, I defeated you 45-36 from Josh Allen, Travis Kelce beating Geno Smith and Mark Andrews. Geno was kind of a letdown last week. That whole game was a letdown as far as fantasy points go, because they were a high over/under, and they did not. They didn't step up. Yeah, that does take the pick 2 to 3-2 on the season. That's probably my biggest highlight on the fantasy year right now, as far as that and this and doing this show for everybody. But
yeah, that one was rough, man. Geno there, but it is kind of crazy that I didn't lose by much, and I had, Geno Smith in my lineup.
Yeah.
Like, period. Right.
Try this. Try losing by 0.4 and having Geno Smith in your lineup.
Yeah. Josh Allen and Travis Kelce, though, like in any given week, they should dominate Geno Smith and Mark Andrews, and it was just a little bit of a letdown. But
you know what we need to do next year, and we'll toss around the idea a little bit.
Like a survivor league, like you can only pick the player once.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is we could we can make it a pick 4, and you get a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, and a tight end, or it's a pick 2. Yeah, or it's a pick 2, and you can switch it every week. But we can make it a pick 4, and you get to pick 4 every week, and you only get to pick them one time until the other person has picked them.
Until everyone else does. Oh, just against us?
Just like me and you. Like,
yep.
If I pick Josh Allen one week, I can't pick him again until you've picked him. So if you want me to never have Josh Allen again, you just never pick him, and I can't pick him ever again.
Right, and then I'll save him for the last week of the season.
Exactly. Yeah, something like that. Like, I'm saving him for later. Like, I'm starting him later whenever he plays against
Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit. Yeah, when he plays against Detroit in Week 15, I'm playing him then.
I don't think I would, man. He's only going to play 3 minutes.
Yeah, no shit. But yeah, I think that would be cool because it's too easy to pick the top guys every time. But.
Yeah, that's why I tried mixing it up a little bit. I mean, at least that's what I'll say on camera.
I mean, I kind of like mixing it up too. We could install that rule now. We don't have to do. We'll keep the pick 2. We'll keep changing it up, but we'll just kind of keep a mental note. Like I can't have Josh Allen or Travis Kelce until you've picked one of those 2, and you can't have Geno or Mark Andrews until I've picked one.
I like that.
So, with further ado, what positions would you like to do this week? I think if we went with quarterback, tight end, we should probably do running back, wide receiver.
Running back, wide receiver. Yeah.
And then mix it up next week with maybe a quarterback, wide receiver.
Yeah.
Or maybe introduce a pick 4 and we do the pick 4 thing. We table that and do it that way next week. But we'll see.
All right. Yeah, we'll see about that for next week.
Okay, so wide receiver and a running back, huh?
Yep.
Ready whenever you are.
All right, ready. See if we got any repicks.
I got Derrick Henry and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I went Eckler and Jamar Chase.
That's a good one. I think we got a real good matchup this week.
This might be the best matchup we've had.
I almost picked Eckler too, and I thought, no, he's gonna pick him. Yeah. I should have just took him from you.
I was going to pick CeeDee Lamb, but I thought you were going to pick him, and I was like, no, I'll go Chase.
I like Devontae Adams against the Texans. The Texans DBs aren't very good either, but so they could have a big game.
Yeah.
So you picked Eckler and Chase. Okay, cool. Got those written down. All right, like we said, it takes me a 3-2 on the year for that. Going on to the predictions for Week 7. We will recap the Week 6 predictions. We both went 2-2. Sean, that takes you to 11-9 on the season. Takes me to 7-13 on the year. The only game I think who was it that burned us? I burned us. We both picked me. And then we both picked Damon. So we both won on those, but we did both go 2-2 on the week. Going into the predictions for
lead, man.
What's that?
It's just protecting my lead.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. Going into the predictions for this week, we got Catalina Wine Mixin versus the Goats. Mario versus Damon. Who you got?
I've got to go with Catalina Wine Mixin. Going Mario.
Mario?
Yep.
I'm actually that one's tough for me. Because I think Damon's team is better than Mario's, but I like Mario's matchups a lot. But yeah, I did circle Mario. I'll go ahead and go with the next one too. Alave Nether versus Florida Sunshines. I actually picked the Florida Sunshines to win that game. Who you got?
I mean, when I was looking at the teams earlier, again, it's just so hard to pick who Devin is going to pick because he never has anybody in his starting lineup until right before. I think it's going to come down to that. But man, the Florida Sunshines. I know there's some bye weeks going on and whatnot, but I think there's just too much firepower at wide receiver. Both those guys could blow up. I have Jamar Chase in my pick too. So I got to go with the Florida Sunshines as well. I hate doing that we're picking the same teams, but yeah.
Hey, it is what it is, man. That's not, you know. The other game we got Logan's mom versus Scary Pitts, Drake versus Sean.
Yeah.
We got.
I think this is where we're gonna have a difference. I got to go back to it, man. Picking myself. Not that I think I'll score more points, but he's got to have a bad week sometime. I've got a pretty good defense. So this is it. This is the week that he scores 102 points. And I'm scoring 108.
Yeah, I actually have you as well. So this ended up being a clean sweep. I'm going off of maybe just kind of what you said too. Is I do like Drake's team a lot. And 124 may have been his down week. I just kind of think that his wide receivers could be shaky. I did just think about he does have Pittman. That's probably going to work out okay for him. But
yeah,
ultimately, I like your running backs more. I am assuming that Jonathan Taylor plays. If Jonathan Taylor is not going to play, that would probably change my prediction a little bit.
Well, I have Deion Jackson now. I'd slide him in there.
There you go. Go, Sean.
If he plays, and if he doesn't play, then Sanders goes right back in there.
Yeah. All right.
Who may end up being in my flex, by the way.
Say that again.
He may end up being in my flex instead of Mike Williams.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad flex. I think he has a higher floor than Mike Williams does.
Yeah.
Even though Mike Williams is playing Seattle, so that's kind of that.
Right. That's why he's in there right now.
It's hard to bench somebody in a game like that.
Yep.
And then we got the Grilling Dad game of the week. Sean, you want to take this one down?
The Grilling Dad game of the week. Mommy Chasers, Robert, going against Wilson, Logan. And this one right here, the reason I think it is the Grilling Dad game of the week is because if either team loses here, I think mathematically you're out of the playoffs.
Makes sense.
I think it works that way. When I was like kind of running it earlier, I didn't run like a whole like simulation or anything, but when I was like looking through it in my head, being 1-6, I think that puts you out of.
It really might. I do know. Well, I don't know this because I'm not like a great mathematician or anything like that. But on the math that I was doing, if I beat Mario, I had a like 35 to 40% chance of making the playoffs. When I lost to Mario, now I have like a 15 to 20%, or it's 10 to 15. Could be like 10 to 20%. And I was right at like 25% going into that week.
Yeah.
So if I lose again, I could definitely see that going down to 0. So yeah, you're probably right about that.
Yeah. So, and the only reason is because it's an 8-man league. So
we have
to play other players more than once the rest of the way.
Exactly. And that was what was big too about Mario. Mario was one of those 4-1 teams, and I was 1-4. If I could have beat him, it would have shrunk the gap between the last place and second, what would have been second place but first place. And that would give you a way higher percentage than what you would have had if you had lost. So yeah, I like that game for being the Grilling Dad game of the week. I'm going with Bob in it.
Gosh dang it. Gosh.
Sweet.
That's where I was going to go, but I might mix it up. I just really think Dak being back, him and CeeDee Lamb in this game, it's just going to be really good.
I do too.
But you know what? I just want to make it interesting. I'm going with Logan winning the game. Switching my pick last second.
Just to mix it up. I don't know if that's allowed, but yeah, we can do that.
That's allowed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bob's got the firepower this week. His matchups are pretty good. I like Dak coming back, and I like CeeDee Lamb. I like Debo being down the whole game against Kansas City. I like his running backs, his Ramondre Stevenson and Kenneth Walker, all of a sudden stud running backs, probably top 7, top 10 dudes every week. So I think Robert's got a good squad.
We'll see though. Like New England's running backs are coming back. Like they're getting healthy again, and I like Ramondre Stevenson. He should be running the ball 30 times a game, but Bill Belichick just doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. And plus, I mean, I think Jonathan Taylor on his team would look really good. So he's missing Jonathan Taylor. He's got CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott that need to be on my team. So that's why.
I told you, trade Jonathan Taylor for Kenneth Walker.
I don't think he would do that. I don't think I would do that straight up. Upside's not there. But
What?
I would for CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott.
How's the upside not there with Kenneth Walker? I'm confused on that.
Have you watched him though?
Yeah,
He's
he looked really good.
Yeah, he's going to get 20 carries a game, but he doesn't have that like breakaway speed where he's going to score a 80-yard touchdown the way Jonathan Taylor can every time he touches the ball. Like if Jonathan Taylor is playing, he can score on every play. Like that's like a possibility.
Yeah.
You know, with Kenneth Walker,
Yeah.
that's what I mean by upside. Yeah, between those two.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, as far as volume goes,
I'm thinking Jonathan Taylor isn't going to be that healthy.
Yeah, I think he will. We'll see.
Yeah.
Is that the risk? Is that why people aren't throwing me trade requests and trying to buy low? I would sell low right now. Just saying.
I don't have anybody to offer you. I wouldn't do anything. I don't have anybody.
No,
DeAndre Swift. I'd trade you DeAndre Swift for him, maybe.
See, I would actually like kind of think about that.
Yeah, I've never even thought about it until just now, but that would be something. Like,
yeah.
But I wouldn't give up Damian Pierce or Breece Hall for him.
Straight up, you like 1-to-1?
No.
Dang.
I like those two.
Yeah. It's interesting.
I should have been starting them literally the entire year.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't got out of my own way yet.
Yeah. Well, it's about that time, man.
It is. It is. All right, guys. Thanks for showing up for episode 6. Have a good week 7, everybody. Yeah, feel free to submit any questions. If y'all want to join, like you said, hop on, talk shit to your opponent for just like you. So, all right, dude. Peace.